This is also started with the cultural and
That's right.
How is the cultural heritage of Lagos is being preserved?
Of course, the cultural heritage of Lagos is preserved, especially under this administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have diverse culture, like I said. What you have as part of the cultural heritage in Ekpe are sometimes a little bit different from what you see at the Ikorodu. The Ikorodu might be a little bit different from what you find in Badagry. But there are certain common elements, certain common features, like the Egungun. Egungun is common to all. There are different names according to the different division, but they're commonly called Egungun. The mode of dressing, the mode of their outing might be different, but they are called Egungun. Now, it is the program and the policy of this government to take our cultural activities, especially some which are attractive. They're attractive. We want to take them to a higher level, like the Eyo Festival, for instance. You know, it's a beautiful festival whenever it is held. That is common to Lagos Island. It is peculiar to Lagos Island. We want to turn it into a spectator festival, so that people will come from home and abroad to come and have a look whenever that festival is taking place. It's not an annual festival, I must clear that with you. It's not an annual festival. It's not a seasonal festival. It's an occasional festival. They have certain occasions when a festival is held. So, but whenever it is held, it's always a thing of attraction to a lot of foreigners around, especially diplomats who have come from foreign countries. Now, we want to harmonize all this, like I said, raise the standard. Have a particular period of hosting some of these festivals, so that people can come around. Once we want to hold certain festival, they know the calendar of such festival, so that people can come from abroad and there could be foreign exchange earners for this state if what we have as plans are well implemented. We really want to do that. Now we have historical buildings, historical monuments, which we are preserving. That's the reason for our council, the existence of our Council of Arts and Culture. Like the first building in Nigeria, which is at Badagry, is well preserved, and it's been promoted, it's been preserved, it's been displayed for people who come around to see the historical monuments we have and historical buildings. We have such things around and we preserve them. We promote them, we encourage people who want to promote the culture, our cultural heritage here. We support them in every way. Yes.
But, don't you think the Eyo Festival gained so much popularity that all other divisions of the also?
Of course, we are promoting them. Anytime there's any festival, we get involved. We get involved. That's why we have our Council for Arts and Culture. That's the reason, the main purpose of having that council. We get in any festival at all. Once we are informed and we are told about when it's taking place, we encourage them, we support them, we give them the publicity. Sometimes we invite our crew, camera crew, the TV crew to come and cover such events, and we sometimes sit down there to be part of the show. So I've attended a lot of festivals. It's not only a festival. A festival comes once in a while. Yes.
So, the Black Heritage Festival.
That's right.
What brought about that? And what does the state stand to gain from that festival?
Yes. The Black Heritage Festival. It's a festival that connotes one thing. It connotes the fact that every black man, no matter where he is in the world, is an African. Whenever we have the Black Heritage Festival, we expect black men all over the world, not only in Africa, black men, Africans in diaspora, to come and be part of that Black Heritage Festival. During that period, we try to showcase our cultural heritage here. We not only showcase our cultural heritage, we relate with such visitors who expect to be black men from all over the world. We showcase, we discuss with them for the fact that they're coming to know their roots. A lot of them have not been here, they've just been hearing about what African is all about, and especially some of these roots, slave roots and so on. We have such slave roots through which some of their forefathers were sold into slavery. We show them all the roots and everything, and some other monumental things around. We show them, and it's really about showcasing our cultural heritage and finding their roots. That's the essence of the Black Heritage Festival. Of course, we gain a lot of things by that. Like I said, they find their roots. A lot of people are very anxious. Over the years, they waited for so long to know their roots. The fact that they were brought here physically to see someone, we need to see the sentiments and the emotions of some of these visitors. Sometimes when they come here, they cry, they shed tears uncontrollably for the fact that when they remember what has happened decades ago, centuries ago to their forefathers. It's quite an emotional period for them, and a lot of things they've never known in their life were really shown them physically, firsthand. So they come in contact with a lot of historical monuments which they've never seen since they were born. And it's quite an interesting period, interesting time for those who are able to visit here. A lot of people are longing to be here, but some can't make it. But those who have been able, an opportunity to be here, have really seen the attachment emotionally, sentimentally, over what has been their roots.
It has often been said that culture is the total way of life of people. This is reflected in every area of our lives. A people's culture varies from one culture to another, and Nigeria is a typical example of a country with several multicultural populations, tribes and ethnic groups, coupled with its rich cultural heritage. Obviously, each culture has its own historical background. One can easily identify one culture from another. The culture of a people not only speaks about where you come from, or the different attires we wear, the kind of food we eat, or the tradition, but also how we relate or communicate with one another in different languages. For instance, Lagos State is known for its rich cultural heritage, its historical monuments, as well as its festival like the Ebi Festival, Egungun Festival, and the Eyo Festival, amongst others.
Alala ku asiku alala, ọ̀gbẹ̀rì ku asiku ọ̀gbẹ̀rì, awo lókùlẹ̀lì, táwa mi siku awo.
With a diverse cultural heritage of Lagos State, one wonders if there is a body that oversees this area. On State on Focus tonight, we bring to you the Director, Lagos State Council for Arts and Culture, Mr. Adeshino Elegbede, who has been responsible for the council in providing cultural entertainment and educative programs to preserve and promote our culture by ensuring an adequate measure in all cultural activities in Lagos State.
The Lagos State Council for Arts and Culture is a parastatal under the Lagos State Ministry of Home Affairs and Culture, established over 33 years ago. And primarily, the council is established to implement the Lagos State cultural policy vis-a-vis the Nigerian cultural policy. Well, we more or less preserve, promote, present, and package the rich cultural heritage of Lagos State. But aside that, like you know, Lagos State is a mega state, and because it's a melting pot of all tribes in Nigeria, that's not to say that we don't have indigenes of Lagos State. We've also, in this council, gone into the aspect of showcasing, generally, the other rich cultural heritage of other tribes in Nigeria. The aspect of historical monument is an integral part of arts and culture in all its totality. And we have a division solely charged with looking to the aspects or purview of cultural heritage and historical monuments in the Lagos Council for Arts and Culture. There was a time, even before I dreamt of having the privilege and the honor of leading this council. We have what we call the Historical Monuments and Preservation Committee established to more or less move around Lagos State and identify the important monuments and see to the proper upkeep of these monuments. And of course, because of fund constraint, the paper was written, the implementation issue was a problem because the fund was not there to implement what the committee recommended. And when I came here, I got here, I read through the files, and I think this committee was established during the tenure of Mrs. Duro Simiachi, who is now the permanent secretary of Lagos State.
So can you mention the historical sites we have in Lagos?
Majority of the historical sites we have in Lagos State are scattered all over the 5 divisions, but prominence is usually given to those in Badagry. And I tell you, aside for the 4-story building, the DO's residence, the DO's office, the point of no return, Berefu, the slave monuments and markets, all these are located in Badagry, division of Lagos State. You have the Olaya building, you have the Tom Jones, which is now been demolished. You have a different building structure there now. Of course, the first High Court in Lagos, you have the Tinubu Fountain, the Supreme Court, the what do you call it, the Tafa Balewa Square, where you have the first parliamentary building still there, and you move down to other parts of Lagos, be it Ekpe, Ikeja, Badagry. There are other important monuments there. The problem is, because of competing demands, the way important monuments are being treated overseas, we can't do it here. Governments at all levels, it's not peculiar to Lagos State, at all levels, tend to more or less relegate arts and culture. Today, focus is being given to education, health, transportation, water, security, and the likes, which really is ideal. But what those of us who have been charged with the responsibility of administering the arts and culture sector, we are appealing to governments at all levels, all the 30 states of the Federation, including Abuja and the federal government, to please make sure that the minimal fund that is needed to make sure that we truly uphold our rich cultural heritage is released to all the cultural sectors all over the country. We have socio-political crisis, in fact, socio-political economic crisis in Nigeria today, which I believe we can use culture to address. Incidentally, we've just returned from National Festival for Arts and Culture 2004, which took place in Kaduna. And the theme of that particular festival, if I may remember correctly, is using culture to build a nation. We can use culture to unite, build, and develop a nation. Because culture is the totality of the way of life of the people. Today is more than cultural slavery, it's cultural imperialism. Everything that has to do with our way of life is being relegated. And what we have today, under the guise of globalization, is all about Americanizing our way of life. Talk about policies. People did not even bother to go down history, find out, before the advent of the white man, all our forefathers, be it in Yoruba land, Ibibio land, Igbo land, Hausa land, Efik land, Ijo land, they lived in harmony. There was never anarchy. There was sanity in the society. Anybody that tends to defraud the society, then the community, they have their own way of dealing with the person, and that person is identified. You never found emergency billionaire, people who had no legitimate means of livelihood, suddenly they became rich. Our culture does not support that. It's the white man's culture, and people got away with this, and they will continue to get away unless we go back to our culture. That is why you have moral decadence in the society today, because there is a total negation of our culture. Is it our religion? Is it the type of dress we wear? Is it the food we eat? Is it the story we tell our children? Thank God for the likes of Professor Wole Soyinka Chinua Achebe, Wole Ogunyemi, and Professor Shifeso, and the likes of them. It was Shakespearean play and what have you. For goodness sake, charity resides at home, doesn't begin from home. So, we should look at our culture in totality and address this issue of cultural imperialism that is greatly eating deep into our society in all ways, be it government, churches, the food we eat, what have you. And you might say, how do we attack it or address it? It's a three-pronged attack: family, government, and the society. The problem today is that we say there is crisis and what have you, everything is government, government. Who is government? We have government. But to start with, I remember when a very prominent senior citizens of Lagos State, in the person of Professor Ali Babatunde Fafunwa, was Minister of Education. I think it was under the regime of General Ibrahim Babangida. The man is an apostle, was, and I still believe is still an apostle of mother tongue. He tried to introduce pupils in schools being taught important subjects like English, mathematics, and sciences in mother tongue. Of course, like everything Nigerian, that is the problem we have. Immediately the man left office, the next man, instead of him to look at probably the merits and demerits or where we should improve on this, he put the thing aside and introduced his own, because he said, I want to know that Chino Ilegbedetu is there. No, you look at what is on the ground. It doesn't matter. If you have to continue on it, or you improve on it. You just don't change for the sake of change. So, every home in Nigeria, let us encourage the habit and the spirit of making sure that our children and us understand and they speak fluently our mother tongue. In fact, when you look at our constitution, what's the first language? They say English language. Then other languages will come next. It's a crying shame. When I was in secondary school, before the Civil War broke out, we were being taught the three major languages: Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. And of course, when the Civil War broke out, for fear of the unknown, it was everybody's to his tent. And our teachers that taught us in Hausa and Igbo had to move to their various regions then. The vogue today is, especially the Nova Rich, they want their children to speak English language better than the Queen. I've cautioned my friends when they say they see on television, I know that man is an Hausa man, look at, hear his intonation, that man is a Yoruba man, he's an Efik man, he's a Bibio man. Yes, when an American speaks English, you know he's an American. When a Frenchman speaks English, you know he's a Frenchman. So what is wrong? Now, a Bibio man or Efik man speaking English, and you know from his intonation that this man is an Efik man. Yes, the man doesn't want to lose his identity. And that is what we're talking about. Again, the type of dress we wear. Honestly speaking, when you look at various functions, public functions, I'm not now referring to social functions, because of fear of not being able to identify people. When they do weddings, naming ceremonies, burial ceremonies, housewarming, or chieftaincy titles, you see people dressing like their great-grandfathers. But that should not be it. When we have official functions, people should be happy, they should be proud to come out, not only in your tribal dress, but you have about over 400 ethnic groups in Nigeria, and they have peculiar way of dressing. Put them on, showcase the Nigerian rich cultural heritage. But the problem is, they say you are not looking corporate. Looking corporate is a subjective statement. With all modesty, you can't say I'm not looking corporate. Must I put on tie, coats, and sweating under the tropical sun before I look corporate? No. Those of us who have been privileged and fortunate to travel and see other parts of the world, especially the Asian tigers. Yes, they do put on suits and what have you in Japan, but visit their restaurants when they are doing important events, or after the so-called official hours and what have you, when it's not necessary, they put these things on. They show their culture. In fact, it's a mixed bag. One is not saying that one should be an island to himself or herself, but it's very, very important that what is good in the so-called foreign culture, you imbibe, mix it with your own. Because, like we all know, today the world is a global village. But I think the pendulum is more or less swinging to the so-called advanced countries. And if care is not taken, we will all lose our identity. I mean, by the time we do that, we must have lost everything. And how do we do that? The society should address the intangible cultural aspect. Look for role models. People who are really committed, people who are ready to serve the community. Look at the national honors, the productivity being given to people. When last did you hear that a national honor is given to a teacher that has produced over 50 professors, many doctors, communicators, ministers, engineers, and what have you? Yet, the man is a contented person. He rides a rally bicycle. He lives in a room and parlor apartment in one rustic village. He believes that he should develop the society by making sure that the children within his community are well groomed in their moral values so that they can become better citizens tomorrow. Honestly speaking, you find out that people you don't know, who have no history at all, with respect to them, great-grandfathers, they contributed nothing to the society because of selection, and they got into political office. You give them either the second or highest honor in the society. Whereas you have professors in the universities who had labored and continue to labor to produce people who will develop and see to the growth of this society and country. They are not being recognized. And today you talk about our children not appreciating service. Those children, they learn fast, they read fast, they understand fast. So that is why they say, Uncle, supersonically, Nimo wan sing. And that is how you get there. It doesn't matter what you do. Because those whom we see that have stolen public money, glaringly, they tell you that the onus is on those to prove beyond reasonable doubt that that person has stolen. It's a white man's idea. Going to history, it's so simple in our culture that had never arisen. And in any case, these so-called Western people, what they are trying to introduce here, they never did that in their various countries. And it's an indirect way of subjugating our people perpetually. Today, I tell you, unless you have a solid family that is well groomed in our cultural value, if tomorrow I come to work with a Lexus Jeep, the following day I come with the latest BMW Jeep, the next day I come with a Prado Jeep, I need director to make here. People should ask questions. How much is Shinolebede earning? Where did I get the money from? Or what was the inheritance he got from Uka? Shino make a gombe and come. Go and find out. It is your money, my money. I'm not looking at it from the perspective of the so-called ICPC. If we ostracize people like that, instead of giving them chieftaincy and giving them Bocus award in churches and mosques, then a society, moral value will be rekindled and revived. So that is from the society. From the government, the latest example is the problem in Plateau State. That is Plateau State House of Assembly versus the federal government as regards Governor Darie. The Plateau State House of Assembly has asked the Attorney General of the Federation that, look, don't single out our governor. Start with, publicize the possession, the property, the assets of not only Mr. President, everybody that owns public office in this country. We are the whipping boy. When I say we, the public servants, you dare not declare your assets. The Code of Conduct Bureau will arrange you in what do you call it, Abuja. You fail in 1 year to renew and what have you. I think it's about three or four years. But when is a public appointee, whether elected or selected and what have you, they will tell you before they can open the book for you to know somebody's assets and what have you, you have to do this and do that. I'm sorry, we are not going to equity with clean hands. Where you preach justice and fairness, we should make sure that we show everybody that there is no sacred cow. Thank God we've been working in full collaboration with the Lagos State Waterfront and Tourism Development Corporation. At least to date, we've successfully held the Black Heritage Festival, which really attracted our black brothers and sisters in diaspora. And I tell you, it was an experience which they would like to relive every year. On our own part, we were the cultural consultant to the Lagos State Tourism and Water Development Corporation. And to God be the glory, we did not disappoint. So whenever we call upon to provide the cultural consultancy, I think the Lagos State Council for Arts and Culture will be there to render the necessary service. I want to please advise those in authority to please see the art and culture sector as a social service oriented parastatal whose contribution can never be quantified. With all humility, I know the number of conflict resolutions meetings we've held in this council to stem the breakdown of law and order among either the Christian group or the traditional group. Or in some cases, between or among the traditional group, Christian groups, and the Muslim groups. Or in some cases, either between the Christian group and the traditionalist. When you call them and you try to broker peace, and at the end of the day you succeed in doing this, you will see that if God has not given you the wisdom to call those people and broker peace, if there is a breakdown of law and order, property will have been destroyed, most likely human lives, which one can never quantify. But the problem is today, government level, before fund is given to you, the question is, what revenue did you generate to government last year? Arts and culture is not that way. It has never been that way, and it will never be that way. If we continue with that trend, gradually, we will lose our culture.